Hello everyone. The question I'm dealing with today is how the presence of informal economy linked to conflict. And I choose the case study of Bosnia. So, my argument is that during the Bosnian War between 1992 and 1995, the impoverishment of the population and its will to survive in a difficult context led to the creation of the intensification the intensification of criminal and smuggling networks, linking the local elite within themselves and with the population through informal networks, and not through a trustworthiness relation allowing new politics of liberalization of the local market. So, informal economy gathers so many realities in very different contexts. According to the economist Edgar Fage, adherence to the established rules constitutes participation in the formal economy, whereas non-compliance or circumvention of the established rules constitutes participation in the informal economy. So, he defines informal economy as the reverse concept of formal economy. Hence, we can say that informal economy is defined in comparison to formal economy, which is established within the rules. Rules and what is tolerated or not are different among cultures and states. So first, I will present a theoretical framework of what scholars did on this question. Then I will present you my case study to finally analyze its stakes and its outcomes. So first, why is there an informal economy in Bosnia? According to Efendic, the main goal of informal economy is to survive in a very difficult context, namely the Bosnian War, or to improve the quality of life. Informal economy is a strategy used by diverse types of people and businesses. The article highlights that formal businesses also use informality. The informal economy in Yugoslavia was more important during the war, especially during the embargo imposed to dismantle the conflict, because at this time people did not have access to the everyday products. According to Peter Andreas, the rise of informal economy is mainly due to the external intervention of international organizations and states in the Bosnian War. In his article, he analyzes the conflict and the post-conflict reconstruction through a bottom-up approach, unlike the Western officials who take a top-down approach on the conflict, seeing trade and liberal market as a vector of peace in the region. The author takes the example of a place in Bosnia between Serbia and Croatia called Arizona Market. The war shaped informality in this space between the three communities, the Serbs, Bosnians and Croats. In fact, it was an ancient front line controlled by the NATO forces. Seeing the potential of a liberal marketplace, the US gave $14,000 to transform the place. But it was only transformed into a place of smuggling at the borders, a hub where untaxed cigarettes, alcohol, stolen cars, drugs, or illegal migrants were present until 2000. This situation was favorable to the emergence of new riches criminal elites. They are new riches criminal elites. They are former key players in the acquisition, distribution, and supply during wartime. And they have close ties with the government and national political parties. In 2000, the Office of the High Representative began a campaign to clean and regulate this space. We see here the failure of the Bosnian state unable to regulate it. So, secondly, according to scholars, the informal economy is also linked to conflict because the elites are linked to criminal practices. These elites are central actors in stopping the will of the state in some politics, which are against their own interests as the Dayton Peace Agreement in 1995. At this time, the elite members of the Govina holding were against the agreement. This holding was a deposit bank for Croatia's fund destined for the Croatian Defense Council created during the war. It was linked with Herzegovačka Banka and insurances or oil sector and was involved in business malpractices as corruption or privileged loans and status to clients. This holding formed a network of elites threatening the Bosnian state. In fact, the network was defining local politics as, for example, the constitution from 1997 to 2012. The elite's members aimed to facilitate financial and economic independence, but only for the Bosnian Croat majority areas. So, we see with this example the persistence of wartime structures after the war in a time where European integration was the priority. Also, in dealing with criminal practices, the Bosnian economy lost 30% of its GDP. This is why I can say that the continuity of the informal and criminal economy impeded the aim of meeting the Copenhagen criteria, which is a condition to enter the European Union. So these are not the conditions to build a strong Bosnian state with the capacity to fight against these criminal networks. However, in 2012, 5 members of Herzegovina Holding were prosecuted because they threatened the state and the bank was dissolved. So, avoiding corruption and criminalization of the economy is the condition for the economic and political development in Bosnia. So, let's conclude finally. Because of the impoverishment of the population and the Bosnian economy during the war, the intensification of informal economy practices led to the creation of criminal and smuggling networks linking the local elites within themselves and with the population through informal networks, and not through a trustworthiness relation allowing new politics for liberalization of the local market. So, these are my 3 questions for the seminar. Do you think that the Bosnian economy during the war could survive without informal economy? Is it relevant to differentiate and speak of an informal economy during a war? To what legal system does informality refer to? And is it relevant to have one concept, informal economy? So, thanks for listening.